On the farm. I'm Larry Marble. Come on down that pecan tree lined lane, through the screen door, down the hallway, into the kitchen. Let's sit at Granny Marble's kitchen table, and we'll talk about the things that are affecting agriculture within this region of Texas. Neighbor, let's take a look at the San Antonio-Austin National Weather Service office for our weather information. Cold with light rain today, freezing rain and sleet. Light icing impacts probably through 6 p.m. on a line down I-35 towards San Antonio, back out Highway 90 toward Uvalde, and light icing impacts after 6 p.m. from that line down. Our highs today, 37 in Llano, 39 in Pleasanton, 41 in Del Rio, 38 in LaGrange. As we look toward tonight, neighbor, we're going to be in the 20s to the 30s. We'll say 20 in Llano, 30 in Pearsall, 27 at Langtree, 29 in LaGrange. The 5-day planner calls for about half sun, half clouds on Friday. Lows 21 to 32, highs 48 to 51. Neighbor, there's the ag weather forecast for this region of down on the farm country. Neighbor, here's your first glass of iced tea and the commodities. March corn, 6.10 3/4, up a quarter. March beans, 14.08 1/4, up 17. March Kansas City hard red winter wheat, 7.96 1/2, down 3 1/2. March number 2 cotton, up 25, 123.70. April live cattle down 32, 143.05. March feeder cattle down 42, 165.20. April lean hogs up 60, 91.95. And your March West Texas Intermediate crude up 54, 86.33. There's your commodities. Neighbor, now it's time to turn to the Texas Farm Bureau, as we do each day about this time, and see what's going on with Tom Nicoletti and his program, Focus on Agriculture. Tom, what's your topic?
Rise and Shine is the theme of this year's Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. I'm Tom Nicoletti with Focus on Agriculture on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network. The stock show in Cowtown started on January the 14th, runs through February the 5th. From Fort Worth, we are joined by Matt Brockman. He is communications manager for the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. And Matt, there was no show in 2021, but you're back strong this year in 2022 with some COVID protocol in place. Briefly tell us about that.
The vaccines are a game changer. We felt like we could move forward because of that important firewall that's in place. So at this point, things are going well. We have taken certain measures. There's not a mask mandate. There's not a vaccination mandate. However, we've got mask distribution locations all across the complex. Plenty of hand sanitation stations, signage obviously in appropriate areas, reminding people to do the things that are important and necessary to keep themselves and others safe. We're working with our local health department. They are providing a vaccination clinic throughout the 23-day run of our show.
Matt, about how many visitors are you expecting compared to pre-COVID years?
Attendance has remained pretty steady thus far through the show. We typically get 1.2 million guests on the complex throughout our 23-day run. Weather permitting, I think we'll get close to that number. We're optimistic at that point, and thus far attendance has been pretty good. Probably as much or more so than any city in the nation, Fort Worth's connections to the livestock industry and the Western lifestyle and the cowboy way of life run really deep and strong. And consequently, the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo is just tightly woven into the fabric of this city.
I will have more with Matt Brockman throughout the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. I'm Tom Nicoletti with the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to find an insurance agent who's a true neighbor. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Neighbor, I can smell that chicken fried steak, and Hop Sing is plating it up. While he does that, I'll pour the iced tea and the jalapeno gravy. I'll provide you one of Nanny's East rolls and put a cold cucumber salad right there by that chicken fried steak. And we'll talk to Carl Herman at Caldwell Livestock. They sell them on Wednesday. Carl, how'd that sale go?
We had a really good sale yesterday, Larry. Had over 900 head for 150 consigners on a higher calf market and cow market, and 44 buyers buying the cattle. We had 150 cows and bulls, slaughter cows 30 to 80, slaughter bulls 89 to 104, stocker cows 600 to 1225, and the pairs 775 to 1375. On the calf side, on the steers, 2 to 3 weight steers 165 to 230, 3 to 4 weights 168 to 215, 4 to 5 weights 160 to 188, 5 to 6 weights 150 to 176. 6 to 7 weight steers 140 to 162, and the 7 to 8 weights brought 120 to 147. On the heifer side, 2 to 3 weight heifers 150 to 205, 3 to 4 weights 150 to 187, 4 to 5 weight heifers 145 to 182, 5 to 6 weights 140 to 170, 6 to 7 weights 130 to 140, and the 7 to 8 weight heifers 120 to 132. Overall, had a really good day. Had a lot of cattle on hand, good cattle, and buyers were actively trying to get them bought.
Where are we at for next week?
Oh, I've got 2 or 3 little deals coming that I know of. I've got one little herd sell out, so we'll have another good sale next week.
Tell everybody how to get a hold of you, Carl.
Okay, my number's 979-820-5349. Call the barn, 567-4119. If you're in the Giddings and surrounding area, call Max Ebner at 540-8676.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Larry.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to get insurance for Texans by Texans. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Neighbor, looks like it's time to cross the Pedernales and head up to Fredericksburg and talk to Wayne Geiswhite, Gillespie Livestock. He and his son Sean own and operate Gillespie Livestock. I did business with Wayne's dad, 30 years ago. Wayne, how did business go this week?
Ended up having 1,228 head. Cow market's probably $2 to $3 an hour. Had some cows bring right up close to 80. Had some bulls bring up to $1. One packer didn't put on any money, and the other packer did, so they kind of caught up, both about even. Calf market, Larry, I know everybody's going to say, well, my quotes aren't near as high as they were last week, but we had a different set of cattle than there's a class of cattle, especially the 550 to 600 pound steers. They're probably going to be higher than last week. So a lot of those calves weighing 540 to 600 bring up over $1,000. And I didn't have any of those 4 weights bring, 240 and 30s and stuff like that. They kind of bring up to 210 or 15. But they weren't yearlings, they were just calves. I had some 7 weights up to 145, 8 weights up in the mid 130s. The heifer market was basically about like it was last week. In fact, we thought it might have been a tick better. 4 weights up in the low 160s, 3 weights up to 170, 5 weights in the 150s. 6 weights up close to 140. So as a whole, we were kind of happy with what happened today, even though the quotes won't be quite as high, except on a couple of classes.
How about sheep and goats next week?
Well, we should get, start getting bigger runs. I guess it just depends on how long this cold air sits in here.
Right.
We're thinking 2,500 to 3,000 next week, and 1,000, 1,200 head of cattle.
Now, Wayne, you said you were going to have the heifer mates to the cattle that had some really good prices last week come this next week, correct?
The heifer mates, there'll be somewhere around 90 head of them. They'll be weaned 100 days, kind of weighing the 4s and low 5s. They'll be here next week. They're all black and black baldies. So they should be here and should have a good sale.
Tell everybody how to get a hold of you.
We're at 830-997-4394.
Neighbor, announcing the 37th Annual DeWitt County All-Breed Bull and Female Sale, Saturday, January the 29th, 2020, Cuero Livestock Commission Company. Bulls sell at 11, females sell afterwards. About 30 bulls, 250 females. The bulls include Angus, Charolais, Brahman, Polled Hereford, Sembra, Beefmaster. Females featuring breds, pairs, and opens. F1 Brayford, lots of tiger stripes, Brangus, Brangus Baldies, Brahmans, Angus, and other cross breeds. For information, call Anthony Natardis, 361-275-0816. 361-275-0816. If you're unable to attend, you can view and bid on Cattle in Motion. That's cattleInMotion.com. 37th Annual DeWitt County All-Breed Bull and Female Sale, the 29th of January. Cuero Livestock Commission Company, 361-275-0816. Neighbor, let's hit the grains right quick before we have to go back to the field or pasture. Milo through Corpus, 1242. Yellow corn through Corpus, 710.5. Hard red winter wheat to Houston, 870. And Houston beans, 1381.25. Texas cotton, 29,432 bale. Price went from $117.95 to $120.20. So across that 29,432 bale, that average price was $119.07 against the March cotton contract of $123.95, up $287 at its close. Neighbor, that's it for the most popular farm and ranch news program in Texas. No brag, just fact. And the reason we are is because you are the best darn farm show listener in the state of Texas. I ain't bragging. I'm just telling you fact. And that's not anything that you don't know, because you're showing your smarts, because you're right here at Down on the Farm's kitchen table. We'll see you at 3:45. Good day.